Hey, what up, Long Beach? Happy holidays to you and yours. Welcome back to the show, your weekly 5-minute video recap of the top Long Beach sports stories.
The show is brought to you by the Long Beach Post as well as the 562.org. That's us. He's JJ. I'm Mike, and we're all decked out for the holidays.
That's right. I got my ugly sweater on for an ugly sweater party because that's not what we call that school.
And that mascot doesn't exist anymore. I'm also wearing a hat that features a logo that's been retired.
Mike and I have been covering local sports here in Long Beach for over a decade, so we are very well qualified to let you know about the LBC sports moments that deserve to be counted for the best sports moments since 2010. And if we're going to start a list, I think the best place to start is one of the best places to see a game here in Long Beach, and that's Blair Field.
Yeah, Bull Diamond at Blair Field, back then it was just Blair Field, was host to probably the best public school versus public school baseball pitching battle of the decade. You had Chase DeYoung from Wilson, you had Shane Watson from Lakewood. Both of them would end up going as top 40 picks in the MLB draft. Both were special generational talents for those schools, and we got a chance to see them pitch before sellout crowds at Blair, before a scout with scouts from literally every team in Major League Baseball came out for these games, JJ.
Yes, the radar guns like fireflies in the Blair Field stands looking so cool because you're right, it was the entire Major League scouting group there to see those two guys, to see guys that we had seen pitch for the last few years and always giving us great games at Blair Field. And sure enough, they gave us another great one, a 1-0 win for the Lancers over the Bruins. Of course, both Shane and Chase dealt that night.
From superstars of the high school baseball world to superstars of the world period, we got a chance to cover the Drew League versus Goodman League basketball game that happened during the NBA lockout when all those NBA stars, just trying to stay loose, trying to stay in shape, were playing in amateur leagues like the Drew League and the Goodman League. So we were in the pyramid with a dangerously oversold crowd to see guys like Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. It was John Wall. It was an absolute madhouse in there. We were lucky enough to get to cover it.
It was the and one version of Long Beach basketball. It was the closest thing we were going to get. But you're right, seeing Harden and Durant go up against each other, this is when they were on the same team at that point. So you also had that mixed in there as well. Yeah, God bless the NBA lockout because it gave us one of the best videos and one of our most viewed videos in our history here covering Long Beach sports.
And a pretty good game for the pyramid, not to mention. We go to our next moment, the Long Beach Poly Football 2012 playoff run. This is a Jackrabbits team that had started 1-3, but led by future NFL stars like Juju Smith-Schuster, Iman Marshall, and Jayon Brown. They were able to turn their season around, beat up on the Moore League, and then go through an unbelievable playoff run to the CIF Championship, beating St. John Bosco, beating Mission Viejo, beating Mater Dei. By the way, that was the last year Bosco didn't make the CIF Championship, 2012, because Poly was able to upset them in the Fog Bowl of Vets.
Well, a lot of Jackrabbit fans thought it was going to be the last year of Raul Lara head coach at that school because of the loss that they had at Narbonne, a historic loss in the first part of that season, and then to have such good coaching down the stretch. They changed their offense almost every week down the stretch and into the playoffs, and then that game at Angel Stadium, beating Mater Dei, oof. That is just what Poly football lives for, to knock off the Monarchs in Anaheim.
It wasn't a bad night, JJ. Number two, back-to-back number two, the Long Beach State men's volleyball team winning those back-to-back NCAA championships in 2018 and 2019. No program in school history had ever won back-to-back NCAA titles, and for the men's volleyball team to do it after what we would call the close of the mid-major era was pretty special. This is a time when they're beating schools like UCLA. They're beating schools like Ohio State. They're beating programs with huge, huge budgets, and they're doing it in emphatic fashion, and they got to do it in the pyramid.
Doing it in the pyramid is amazing. Obviously, it's our top moment of the year here in Long Beach, but I think winning the championship at UCLA in Poly Pavilion with national championship banners literally hanging over your head. Long Beach State was down 19-16 in the fourth set of that match. What could have been, so easily could have been another UCLA national championship, but instead, long-time suffering Long Beach State fans for volleyball or any other sport got a chance to shake their fist at the beast and say, I am David and I have taken down Goliath.
I love that. Our top moment of the 2010s, both for our lives and our professional lives and for the city sports scene. The city of Long Beach hosted a 3-week celebration of itself in London at the 2012 Summer Olympics. Long Beach won what would have been, if you were to take the city of 500,000 people that is Long Beach and make it into its own country, Long Beach athletes and coaches would have been number 10 in the world in terms of the gold medal count and number 17th overall in terms of the overall medals. It was an unbelievable showing from gymnastics to basketball to volleyball to water polo to beach volleyball. It was a special time, and it was something we got to be there to see in person.
Well, it was a special time athletically, but it was also just a special time for us. 3 weeks in London together. We got to go everywhere and see everything. Got to see some practices, got to see some matches, but also just got to travel that local area there in London and really experience a lot of different things that we never would have experienced if we didn't, cover Long Beach sports.
All right, that's just 5 of our top 15 of the biggest sports stories in Long Beach in the 2010s. If you want to see the rest of them, get into some arguments with us. We may or may not be checking our email over the holidays. You can go to lbpost.com and check that list out today.
Merry Christmas, Long Beach.
See you guys next year.